Hello, and welcome to the Township of Sparta Environmental Commission meeting for Thursday, November 14th, 2024. It is 7:01, and we are called to order. We are live in the council chambers at the municipal building and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/@SpartaTWP/streams. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the public and the press on January 5th, 2024 by delivering to the press and posting on the township website a copy of this notice. Michelle, will you do roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Daniel Chiarello,
I'm here.
Chairwoman Kimberly Knoll,
Here.
Vice Chair Neil Sauerwein,
Here.
Christine Dunbar,
Here.
Ted Gall, Christine Rogers,
Here.
Linda Tower, Barbara Kozlaka,
Here.
Landon Tenieri,
Here.
Robert Otto,
Here.
John Grove.
All right, thank you so much.
And remember, everybody, to use the microphones when you can,
Yep.
because it won't pick up on the
Okay.
recording.
Thank you. All right, please join me in saluting the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You. All right, we have two sets of minutes to approve, both sets from October 10/10/24 and 10/24/24. Did anybody have any comments or questions, modifications to the 10/10 minutes? October 10th minutes.
On the second to last line on the back page, my name is spelled wrong.
Yes, it is.
Oh, sorry about that.
Do I have any other changes? Do I have a motion to approve minutes with that change in Christine Rogers' name?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Looking at October 24th, 2024 minutes, any changes to those minutes?
Under new business, it should be Centenary University.
Okay. Any other changes? All right. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes with the change from Centenary College to Centenary University?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thanks, Christine. Second?
I'll second.
Christine, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Tonight we have a presentation from SCUMA Recycling Coordinator, How to Recycle More. So let me introduce Dawn, and she's going to go ahead and do our presentation for us. I know. Do we all want to go down there or something?
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Dawn Latintich, Recycling Coordinator for Sussex County MUA, and I'm so excited to be here tonight to reveal some interesting information about recycling, expand your knowledge in anticipation of tomorrow, which is America's Recycle Day holiday. So we're gonna see if this works. All right, we're going to start with this lovely picture. If anybody's been to our landfill in Lafayette, this is a picture of our newly expanded and renovated landfill. And this is the source of, a basis of our discussion, how we are filling this. So everybody in the audience, I assume are Sparta residents or Sussex County residents. You are responsible for filling up all the sections of this landfill that you see before you. In the foreground is it's called a new cell that's not yet being used, but if you look in the background where you see kind of a dirt color, that's where all the garbage trucks are currently going. It was only opened, just a little more than a year ago. It's already half full. So every day, all of our garbage trucks from all around the county are dumping all of our garbage into those cells. The one in the foreground will be the next one that we start filling, and then we're gonna make one more in between the two of those, and that's it. So we have room up until 2066. There may be some new technologies before then, but that's our challenge as a county. How can we slow that down? How can we not have as much garbage going there every single day? So recycling is a big part of that, which is why we're here tonight to talk about how we can help do more with the recycling. So we're going to try to improve your recycling IQ. We're going to talk about myths that are in the news about recycling, a little bit about behind the scenes. Where does your recycling actually go? Recycling more at the SCMUA. You've probably heard reuse, reduce, recycle, but there's some additional R's that I'd like to bring to your attention tonight. And a little bit about what's coming in New Jersey in terms of additional recycling, exciting news and rules that are coming, and hopefully some good takeaways. So let's talk about recycling in Sussex County. It's a little confusing. We have 24 municipalities, and they all handle it a little differently. Some towns do not have curbside pickup. They actually have to take their recycling in their cars and come to the Sussex County MUA. I showed you the landfill part. We also have a recycling center, so we're very fortunate that they can come there for free. Some of our towns have some wonderful recycling drop-off centers right specific to their town. Vernon Township has one. Newton has a newly expanded one where they have just about everything that we have at this point. So those towns really have an asset where they can go very close to home and get rid of their recycling. We also have some discrepancies in the county between how the curbside recycling is handled. There's something called single stream and something called dual stream. Sparta is on the single stream track, meaning you get to put all your recycling all in one container at home. It's like the easier way to do it. Hopefully everything's okay. You get to put your cardboard in with your cans and your bottles, and takes a little less thinking, right? And it's a lot more convenient. However, what that usually turns into is people getting a little sloppy or a little wishful and start throwing everything in there, things that don't belong. So you end up with what's called contamination. So you're actually hauling material to the recycling place that we'll talk about, and some of it's garbage. So you've wasted that space, that transportation, that cost on things that are not going to be recycled. The preferred way to do curbside recycling, if you wanted to do a more careful system, is the dual stream, where you have residents put out their cardboard and their paper on one day, and then the next week or another day during the week, they're coming back and they're taking your bottles, your cans, and your glass. So we have, again, some towns doing it one way, some towns are doing it another, and I'm sure it was cost basis or other decisions by the towns to make those decisions. If you were going to bring your recycling to us at the SCMUA, so for those towns that don't have curbside, or if you missed your pickup and you want to bring your recycling, as a single stream community, you cannot bring it to Lafayette, to our facility, because we only take things that are separated. Why? Because I market those materials and I market them much more successfully if they are clean. If you're just giving me cardboard and you're just giving me your newspaper and your bottles and your cans are all separated. We cannot take the single stream because we have no way to sort that out and market it for us. Does that make sense? So dual stream, you're stuck. Dual stream can come to us. Sorry, single stream, have to deal with your own curbside. The county does have a list of mandatory recyclables that are in the solid waste management plan, but we've gone beyond that. We actually recycle a lot more things in the county, and that's one of the reasons I'm here tonight, to tell you about all of those. I also wanted to mention the tonnage grants that the state offers to all of our municipalities. Once a year, your township recycling coordinator, right now it's Robin Hattersley, is asking all the businesses in your community to provide data on how many tons of recyclables did they have in the previous calendar year. And it's sorted by all the different categories: how much cardboard, how much glass, how much plastic. And then it's submitted to the state, and each municipality gets grant money back based on the tons of recyclables that they can prove they did for the year. So it's beneficial to you as a community to increase that number, to have less solid waste and have more recycling, so that you have then more funds that can be devoted to some recycling efforts, whether it's education at the schools or buying some recycling equipment or supporting your, say, your trucks. And the last thing about Sussex County in terms of enforcement, if we did have a quick check, or not to pick on them, but any business that's not doing the right thing in terms of recycling, the enforcement side is actually handled by the Board of Health. So if you did notice or had a complaint, it's the Board of Health that actually would cite them. The township, the zoning officers usually can get involved if it's a really minor violation, but if it's something serious, it gets elevated to the level of Board of Health. So let's talk about those recycling myths that are out there. There's been a lot of bad press about recycling. Some people get very cynical. They're like, why bother? It's just going to end up in the garbage anyway. I'm here to tell you that there is recycling. It is happening. I'm seeing it happening. I've been to the places where it's recycled. We'll talk about some that's actually happening right here in the state. Does it end up in the landfill? Well, what ends up in the landfill is if you wish cycle and if you're putting things in your recycling that really are not recyclable. And we'll talk more about that, so how you can be careful. That's what's going to the landfill. The other myth, there's no markets for recycling. You may recall 5-7 years ago, China decided not to take the recycling from the US any longer. They were sick of all the contamination, and they said, this is not good quality, we're not taking it anymore. That was a bump in the road for recycling markets, but markets have come back, different markets. We now have other places that are taking recycling. So on a monthly basis at the Sussex County MUA, I'm going out and looking at those markets. Recyclables are a commodity, just like gold or any other commodity out there. They fluctuate based on the demand. So we are looking on a monthly basis. Where can we best sell our cardboard or our glass? But those are markets out there. Recycling doesn't save money, wastes more energy. Well, if you can think about, I don't know, tin can. It does take less energy to recycle that tin can than if you think back to how you got the can to begin with. From the mining operation, from the production standpoint, all of that, there actually is a definite savings on most of these recyclables instead of going back to using the pure material that started it. Sorry, these keep going a little too fast for me. All right. Probably the biggest one that people are curious about are those chasing arrows in the top right corner. And you see them at the bottom of a lot of, or almost all of, your plastic containers. So your water bottles, your laundry detergent bottles, your yogurt cups, they all have these chasing arrows and they have a number in the center. It was never meant to indicate that all of those are recyclable. Those codes are resin codes. It just tells you what type of plastic that material is made out of. Some can be recycled curbside. Some can be recycled in special ways that we'll talk about. And some there is no market. We just talked about markets. Some are not marketable. They're not going to be recyclable. So it's been a misleading thing to have those chasing arrows. And we'll talk about what New Jersey and other states are doing about that. Another myth is, well, we'll just put it in the garbage. It's going to decompose over time. The landfill is carefully controlled. We can do a whole nother seminar on landfill construction. Things will decompose, but very, very slowly, sometimes hundreds of years. So it's not okay to just put things in the landfill and hope, well, that'll just go away and we'll be fine. This one should make you happy. Recyclables do not have to be squeaky clean, so you do not have to scrub all of your recycling before you put it out for curbside pickup. What would be nice, and especially if you're a single stream community like Sparta, is that you don't have any free-flowing liquids like a spaghetti jar, and you just throw it in there with your paper and your cardboard, because if that gets wet, that becomes no value. Does that make sense? For our facility, it's also, we don't want things that have a lot of food still in it, because the bees get very happy and coming to our dumpsters, and then our residents obviously have an issue. So for a safety standpoint and hygiene, we like it to be rinsed out, cleaned, but you don't have to get in there and scrub and soap and do all that, okay? The other myth is that plastics are infinitely recyclable. The petroleum industry would love for you to believe that, but it is not the case. So a water bottle is not going to be recycled into another water bottle, indefinitely. And we've probably all heard about PFAS, these nanoparticles that are getting out there into the environment. So no, plastic's not the end all, right? Can you infinitely recycle metal and glass? Much more likely than the plastics. And again, this is where we get in trouble. If we have something and we throw it in the recycling bin, well, they'll probably figure out how to recycle it. No, there's a set way these things are sorted when they go down to a materials recovery facility. And it's not going to just magically happen that some of these things we're going to talk about are going to get recycled. And I think the pictures, and if the video works, I think it really helps understand why that's the case. Why does this seem so problematic? Why can't I just throw in and I have some little... Why can't I throw a hanger in my curbside recycling? It's plastic. What's the problem? Like, why can't they just deal with it when it gets down there, turn it into something? This is why. This is called a materials recovery facility. This is where all your recycling is going. That's where the trucks are headed. And they're all throughout New Jersey. And you can see it's a big mess of some recyclables and some contamination. And yes, there are people hand sorting at the beginning of this process when it's coming down on these conveyor belts, and they are pulling in or pulling out those materials that don't belong in there. They're pulling out plastic bags that get tangled in the equipment. They pull out the hanger. They pull out the containers that are too small. They pull out dangerous things that people put in the recycling just because they're, whatever, lazy. And once it leaves them, it's going through this very complicated materials recovery facility. And let's see if the video will go, and that'll really give you the story. Looked like it was going to do something. If not, we can talk about it. Do you have control?
I'm not seeing what you're saying.
You have the mouse? No. Okay. Go back a slide. Can we go back a slide or no? I don't have, do I have control of the mouse again? No, there is. It's not moving now. I'm not able to make it go.
Something came up when you hit that, so I'm gonna get.
There we go. There. All right. Picture this in motion. So what happens is the materials are going through all different conveyors up into different spinning discs where the cardboard is going to be knocked out because of these spinning discs. The rest of it continues on, and there's different blowers and air jets that are going to blast at the paper, and then the paper drops down, and that's going to go to get baled up. There's areas where the glass is going to go along and get broken, and that's going to drop out, and that's going to go into a bin, and that's going to get baled and go out. Plastics are still going along, and there's these QC people all along trying to pull out the wrong things. In the plastics area, they actually use optical sorters now. So they actually have something looking for the shape of a water bottle and making sure that, you know, if it is a water bottle, it's going to go in the right place. If it's something too small, in these discs and these systems like this, it's just going to fall through. It's going to go into their garbage bin. In those systems with those spinning wheels and discs and conveyor belts, something like this or something like this can jam up and just stop the whole operation. You saw how much material they're trying to put through these systems, so to have to stop and cut out the plastic bags that got wrapped around, and it's dangerous and it slows things down. So again, there's multiple floors, multiple layers, and all this different separation is happening for each of the materials that they're trying to capture, but they can't capture everything. There's magnets in there that's capturing the metal. There are air jetties that they're using to get the aluminum. So all these things are being pulled out of that, that mix of stuff that you put together. They've got to undo it so they can sell it. So the rules for curbside pickup that I'd like you to go away with today. These are the do's. These are the things that should be in your curbside. And for you in Sparta, these are all being put together. A lot of questions we get around pizza boxes. Pizza boxes can go in, but we don't want your cheesy mess. They don't want the cheesy little insert. And if the box got really greasy, then it's better to just throw it away. We don't want it to contaminate other things in your bin. You can read through the others. Softcover books are easy to go through the system. Hardcover, not so much. So we actually ask people to tear off the covers. Alternatively, you could bring them to a book drop. There is one for Karen Ann Quinlan on Newton Sparta Road. And the Newton Recycling Center just had another drop-off spot added there. And I'm hoping to get one at the SCMUA. The plastics that are consistently recyclable in New Jersey are the ones with those numbers that I was talking about, but only 3 of those numbers: the 1s, the 2s, and the 5s. What's not on there? 6s. So anybody who has red Solo cups, if you're buying them, you're buying garbage. These are not going to be recycled. These are just going to be in our landfill, as an example. So you can look at what you're buying and see if it's something that's recyclable by checking the resin codes for now. What happened 35 years ago when we started recycling in New Jersey is they allowed each county to designate what materials they can recycle, and of course everybody has a different list. So if you have a house down the shore, they may have totally different rules about how to recycle than up here. So it's been very frustrating to try to educate the public. So I'm happy to say that New Jersey is working on what's called truth in labeling, where they're going to require manufacturers to only put those codes on the bottom with the chasing arrows if it is actually recyclable in New Jersey. It has been done already out in Oregon. I'm looking at it for California as well. But in order to do that, we have to be consistent across the state. So the Association for New Jersey Recyclers worked very hard this year to actually canvass all of the recyclers in the state and came up with a list of the things that are definitely recyclable in New Jersey, a list of things that are not recyclable anywhere in New Jersey, and then a check locally list, because there are a few things we're going to talk about that we recycle even here in Sussex County that may not be able to happen in other counties. So now that we have that, we're hoping the legislature will move forward with the truth in labeling legislation. It just moved out. I think it's going to the Senate. It just moved, I think today, out of one of the committees, and it's been moving on. So hopefully that's going to come forward, and you'll start hearing some state education where we're all on the same page and we all know what we're supposed to be recycling. Another one that we get a lot, yes, leave caps on the bottles. This is from the bottle industry. The caps are made out of a different plastic, but for those optical sorters, it's very important that it still looks like a bottle as it's chugging through that system that I described. If you squash the bottle and it's a flat thing and it goes through and it doesn't recognize it, it's going to reject it. It's going to go in the garbage pile. That kind of makes sense? And then obviously keep your items loose as you're putting them in your recycling container. Don't put it in a plastic bag. We already talked about how that can tangle everything up. Those are the do's. The don'ts, like we said, no plastic bags, no plastic wrap. Can you recycle plastic bags? Can you recycle plastic wrap? Absolutely. Just don't put it in your curbside recycling. It's not that simple. You have to bring it to a separate location. Batteries, big, huge, do not put in your recycling. Do not put in your garbage. There have been fires right here in Sussex County at our landfill, and very large fires elsewhere in the state just from those little lithium batteries getting run over by a truck at a facility and burn them to the ground. So we need you to be very careful with your rechargeable batteries and bring those to a special place, which we'll talk about. Do not put styrofoam, food wrappers, and you can read the list. The plastic hangers we talked about, plastic utensils. They're just gonna fall through the system. There's no way to capture that and get them recycled. A lot of places in the state cannot handle wax-lined cups. So whatever you went to, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, anything with the wax line, there's nobody recycling that. Your ice cream containers, there's very few facilities. So that's not going to be on the statewide list as being a yes. It's going to be a check locally. Hopefully this is helping and not confusing you further. So that's the lessons on curbside recycling. And we can pat ourselves on the back every week when we take out our curbside recycling that we've done our job. But yet, there is so much more that we can do, and we are lucky we can do because we have the Sussex County MUA. If you haven't been there, come on by. It's newly renovated, and we're going to talk about the extra things that you can bring to us to help the county and your town do more recycling. At our recycling center, everything I'm going to talk about is free. I already mentioned that if you missed your recycling pickup or your town doesn't have curbside, you can bring your cardboard to us, your newspaper, your commingled glass, and plastic. In addition, you can bring EPS foam. And an example would be a cooler or this stiff white EPS foam that you would get with like a new television. So if you have this, it can't go in your recycling at home. That's just going to go in the garbage. But if you put it in your car and you bring it to us, we're able to densify it down and make a useful product out of it. I'll have a slide about that in a second. You can bring your oil, your antifreeze, if you have somebody's doing all your automotive fluids at home, it's transmission fluid, hydraulic fluid, all of that can be brought for free to our recycling center, 5 gallons a day, and we recycle that. Cooking oil, anybody doing deep fried turkeys coming up for Thanksgiving, but any cooking oil you have, we take that as well and it gets turned into biofuel. So canola, peanut, all those different ones. And I mentioned those rechargeable batteries that are causing fires. We are one place that you can bring them. You can also bring them to Staples, Home Depot, Lowe's. There's a lot of areas that are taking them safely. Just a picture of some of the things you can bring. We also have our textile donation boxes, and the proceeds that we get for that goes to a variety of different nonprofits that you can see on there, Crime Stoppers, Final Salute. And I wanted to spend a second on textiles because sadly that's one of the things we are seeing people still put in the landfill just across the US. The average person throws out about 81 pounds of clothing a year in the garbage. So there's a misunderstanding, I think, that you need to have your clothing has to be not ripped and not stained because they're picturing it going to a secondhand store and it has to be good enough for that. That is not the case. There is so much recycling of these textiles that can be done, as it says there. Yes, some of it can go for usable clothing, but the things that are not, it's still valuable textiles that can be used to make fiber conversions or wiping cloths. They use some of it to stuff the seats of cars. So we really can, if you want to recycle more, start adding, you only have one shoe. Fine, throw it in the recycling bin. You only have one glove. And think outside the box. It's not just clothing. I'm calling it textiles. Do you have any sheets, curtains, hats, scarves? All those things should be not in the landfill. They should be getting back into circulation. Cooking oil we mentioned. That's the drop off for that. And a little more about that foam that I started talking about. So we're able to take this into the machine that's up on the screen. This is very lightweight. It's very hard for us economically to ship this until we densify it down to, it's almost like a Play-Doh consistency. And then it hardens into this material. And we're able to then ship this down to Somerville, New Jersey. He actually makes, so you can see up on the screen, molding for walls, for cruise ships, picture frames. And that's happening right here in New Jersey. So don't throw it away. Put it in a car and bring it down to us. And it's free for you to drop off, and we can actually make a useful product out of it. That's the oil and antifreeze. This is the devastation of some of those fires that we did have because people are not understanding the dangers of those rechargeable batteries. We're talking about lithium batteries in your cell phones. We're talking about button batteries in your hearing aids, in your greeting cards. They're all around us, and it's getting more and more that we're doing electric with all these batteries. We need to understand the danger of that and put them in the right places so we can ship them and get them recycled. So that was called our recycling center, where everything is free. In addition, we have our residence convenience area. This is all still at the landfill, where there's additional materials that you can bring listed there to also get recycled. Car batteries, jump packs. There's a lot of good lead that we can recover from those materials. Rigid plastic, electronics, metal, and we'll go through some of those. For metal, what do you see in this picture that you might have? This is our aluminum pile. So instead of taking that old lawn furniture that you're done with for this year and putting it out to the curb for the bulky waste day, you should be hanging on to it, Sparta, for your metal day, which I understand is at the end of each month, so that at least can go maybe through Blue Diamond to get recycled, or if you don't want to wait for that or forget about it, put it in your car and bring it to the SCMUA. That's a lot of useful aluminum. Gutters, lawn furniture, window screens. Similarly with our bigger plastics, you can't put them curbside. Those milk crates, the Rubbermaid totes with the lids that you use for your Christmas decorations, garbage cans, baskets, 5-gallon buckets, all of that plastic. I told you certain numbers that can go in curbside. These are numbers that can't go curbside, but can go get recycled if we do it in a load by itself and bring it down to a certain facility. So if you have these, another thing you can bring to us to get recycled. And one message I want to get across today is about our electronics. If you've lived in the county for a while, everybody's gotten used to coming to us for our events if they're getting rid of their electronics. We now accept any day that we are open for free televisions, computers, printers, fax machines. You don't have to wait for the events. You can just come and bring them. We still have the events. At the events, all electronics are free. So if you have stereos or a camera or a video game, you can bring that on those event days and it's free. But you can also bring them any day, and it's 6 cents a pound or 13 cents a pound, depending where you're bringing it on our site to dispose of or give to us to get recycled. I'll wait till I get to the events to talk about the other stat. Come on. It's not going to give me the rest of the picture. There it is. I did want to congratulate everybody for Sussex County's big effort in 2024. We resurrected the boat shrink wrap program. This is something else that you could bring to our facility. We were awarded just 2 weeks ago now. This is Source Reduction, Resource Management, and Sustainability Award from New Jersey DEP for restarting that boat shrink wrap program with Morris County and the Lake Hopatcong Foundation. So thanks to all the marinas that helped us participate, the Lake Mohawk Marina, and we had some in other towns as well. But that plastic, they are able to take right over to Pennsylvania, and they put it through a process to make it down to this tiny little level, where they can sell this. They have silos of it, and they're selling it back to plastic manufacturers to turn it into milk crates or other types of plastic uses. So instead of, for us in Sussex County, it's about 7 tons overall. With Morris County, we're about 21 tons. Instead of that being in that landfill that I showed, that first picture, we were able to keep it out of the landfill and turn it into a useful product. Other things at the SCMUA, if you haven't heard, you can bring your vegetative waste to us. This is the time of year you're cleaning up your lawns. So you can bring leaves, you can bring your grass clippings, your brush, your tree parts, and your stumps. Sadly, these things sometimes end up in the landfill, which is sad because we can be composting them. We can be making them into mulch. So you can bring them to us. And in the spring, you can come back and you can get the compost and the mulch that were made for those things that you brought to us. And it's free to residents to come pick it up yourself, the mulch, uncolored mulch, and the compost. And there's a small fee if you buy the red or black dyed mulch, or if you want us to load for you. So I mentioned the electronics, the ones you can bring any day, but we still have the events. We also have our household hazardous waste day. So if you have any nasty materials at home, definitely shouldn't be in regular garbage. We're talking about pesticides, gasoline, pool chemicals, anything that's corrosive. Those can come to us on these event days, and 10 gallons for free or first 100 pounds. So I wanted to just share with you a little statistic on who's been coming to the events, because we just had them. So you have about 20,000 residents in Sparta. How many do you think came to our household hazardous waste event 2 weeks ago out of those 20,000 people? 80, 85, 85. So we can look at it positively that, well, no one has any nasty material. I hope people are buying less hazardous material. Or is it that the word is still not out? So that's something maybe the commission can think about, is how you can help communicate out to people that these events are happening. The last e-waste event we had 100 people from Sparta. And it's not just Sparta. This is just representation of, how these events are happening and who's coming. All right, real quick on the R's. If we can get it to go. There we go. We know the reduce, reuse, recycle. There's a few others. I'm not going to spend a lot of time giving you this little quiz and have you guess, because we're going long here. So we'll just get right to it. So before we get to reduce, reuse, recycle, think about refusing. Refuse to believe you need new everything. We're not going to recycle our way out of our waste issue. We've got to do some rethinking about who's convincing us to buy new things. Why are we not refusing that attitude? Reject things like junk mail or the little tchotchkes somebody's giving out, or these little things that you're only going to have for a day. Why are we continuing to put those into our lives when they're just going to end up in garbage and not are recyclable? And then skipping down to rot, we should all be thinking about composting. Food waste is such a huge issue in the country. About 30% of what's in the landfill is food waste, rotting and creating methane. And the last one is to react. If you see something that you're purchasing with multiple layers of packaging, we need you to go back to the manufacturers and insist that they reduce their waste. So add to your thinkings on the R's and refuse, reject, and then we can do the ones we're familiar with. Did want to give you a little update on New Jersey's progress in terms of recycling. We did have a recycling content law that was enacted. It's requiring manufacturers to use a certain % of recycled material in their products. And it's going to move it up every year. And that's important because we need those markets for that material I'm telling you to recycle. We can recycle till the cows come home, but if nobody needs it, it's garbage, right? It has to have a need. So this is a way to force manufacturers to start pulling that in and making the circular economy. And that lists the containers that they're targeting. We also enacted a extended producer responsibility law for EV batteries. Extended producer responsibility. It's a law that says, hey, you made it, so it's your responsibility to figure out how to recycle it. We already have it for electronics, and that's worked very well. When I told you can bring your TVs for free and your printers for free, it's free because we're making the manufacturers, we meaning the state, pay for that. And now we're adding that to EV batteries because they're here. What are we doing with them? Why is it my problem? It should be the people that make the material figuring that out. We're moving into doing that also for packaging products. And I talked to you about the truth in labeling that we're trying to get enacted with the chasing arrows and only using it where it's appropriate. And the statewide education, once we now have this standard list of what we recycle all throughout the state. So that's all coming down. And there's a lot happening with food waste. We won't go through all these topics. I'll let you just take a glance at them. But we're very excited that the state is trying to make it easier for schools to do composting and try to take some of the complicated applications and legislation out of that to encourage a lot of these things to start happening. There's grant money, a lot happening on the school front that should help us all reduce the impact. So that was a lot of information. You're going to go out here and go, what did she say? And what numbers is it? And what do I do? This is a wonderful resource called Recycle Coach, paid for by the state. It's on your Sparta website, on your garbage and recycling. It does a couple of things. You can actually put in there the name of a material, it'll tell you whether it is recycled or whether it's garbage. You can even take a picture of it and it'll tell you if it can be recycled or not. It also can be a place you can find your schedule for pickups. You can also get notifications through it. I push out notifications about our events. We have a paper shred tomorrow. If you have this app on your phone or have downloaded it, you would have gotten that. You would have known there's a paper shred event, or you would know that there's a household hazardous waste event. So I do encourage you to look it up and check it out. It's got a lot of good information on it. So hopefully you can use some of this new recycling knowledge to celebrate tomorrow, America Recycles Day. I do have some brochures up front as well that explain, again, everything that we have at the SCMUA. Such an asset for the community to bring your extra recycling materials there. And one thing I don't have on a slide, but I'm going to mention to you because Thanksgiving is coming up, SaveTheFood.com. It's got a very nice, I guess we'll call it an app. You go in there and you can actually put how many people are coming to Thanksgiving. Are they big eaters, little eaters, average eaters? How much leftovers do you want? And it's going to spit out for you how many pounds of turkey, how many desserts, how many pies, etc., with the intent of people not throwing so much away. There's a staggering, I'm going to probably goof on the number, but millions of pounds just from Thanksgiving Day is going in the landfills. Millions. I want to say 31. I didn't bring the flyer. 31 million pounds just on the one day. So check it out. It's a really useful tool, not just for Thanksgiving, but anytime you're having people over. And that's my last announcement about recycling. Do you have any questions from the audience about all that we talked about? Too overwhelmed?
Real quick, since I've got the microphone.
Sure.
And I'll pass it around after I do it.
Feels so weird to be behind this wall.
And the reason we're using the microphone is because people on watching on the Zoom couldn't hear us. I've worked a couple of over the couple of years on food waste recycling. I met with the MUA about 5 years ago. I met with the people from Newton. Met with a councilwoman from Chatham at one point. I haven't yet come across a good way to do it. If you have any ideas on how to implement a food waste management program, we don't have to get into it now, but I'll give you a card and I'd like to hear it.
Right. There's a couple of commercial entities that do curbside pickup of food waste, and there's some towns that do have collection containers. Newton, it was trying to embark on that. They got a grant from USDA, so we're watching to see how that works out. They were doing it in concert with the schools and Ag Choice, which is a food.
To bring to a section. Okay.
Correct. So back to the curbside. I haven't found one yet that's come up this far. They're close.
I tried it and I think they've already backed out of it. It's just very impractical.
They had some problems, but I think they're looking at. There are towns that are looking at it again, and there are entities, but those entities have not. We're pretty spread out up here, so they need, for their efficiency purposes, need to be able to go door to door. So we're keeping an eye on it. We definitely would like to find somebody that could do it. So right now, your choices are just to compost at home and reduce where you can in terms of what waste you have. Any other questions besides food waste? Oh.
Hello? Okay. Thank you. This is great. Yeah. So I have a few questions. One is that we just toss our alkaline batteries in the garbage.
Have an update on that. So in the past, the state had said it's permissible to put them in the garbage because they are not considered highly toxic to the environment, and it is costly to recycle them. But that's not to say there aren't valuable metals in alkaline batteries. There are. And there are ways for you personally to recycle them, but it's going to cost you money if you wanted to buy a box to do that through Call to Recycle. But Staples, the store, corporate-wide, have announced that they're going to start accepting alkaline batteries. So that may be an outlet for us here in the county. I definitely want to talk to our local store, though, first to make sure they are at that point. I know it's a thing that Staples, like I said, at the corporate level is starting to do because there are valuable metals for that. But in general, we're focusing on the rechargeables because of the much greater hazard to people as well as the environment.
About how many times can a typical plastic, you may not know this, but I learned it years ago, but I've forgotten. There's a certain number of times that plastic can actually be broken down and reformed? I think it depends on the number you start out with. And
Yeah, I don't have a definite, I mean, it's
then
probably,
I
it's
think
much complicated answer because there's so
pretty-
many types of plastics, and now there are ways they do chemical recycling, which you can have your own feelings about that, but there's other things they're doing now with chemical recycling of plastic. So I don't have a answer at the tip here, a tip of my tongue on.
Yeah, and plastics actually aren't biodegradable. They're just going to become smaller and smaller particles and then form a dust.
Well, the microplastic, and we're seeing that even before they're getting, years and years. It's happening as we're using them, as we're seeing, as they're showing up in our bodies. So, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions about recycling? How about our students that we were happy to see came out tonight?
So you mentioned plastic bags. What about the reusable bags?
Oh, so I didn't really talk about plastic bags enough. What do you do with plastic bags? A lot of the stores, the grocery stores, stopped having collection because they stopped giving them out. So they didn't feel like it was their responsibility. But there are still stores that are taking them. Look for some drop-off locations. They're kind of maybe not as obvious now, but you can still go to Weiss Markets. You can still, Kohl's still has a drop-off. So plastic bags or any stretchy film, that could be overcase wrap. It can be the bubble wrap mailers for Amazon. So definitely there's still a place, and you can bring it to us as well at our recycling center. This past year, it just ended yesterday, we did a year's program, 10,000 pounds of plastic film and bags that we were able to collect at the MUA. Your other question, which I just forgot, was, the reusable bags. So the reusable bags, ironically, are not recyclable easily. ShopRite supposedly has a program where they're taking them back, and we are on the cusp of taking them at the SCMUA, where they will be washed and then given to food banks to reuse. But they are not made out of a plastic that's easily recyclable, sadly. Oops. All right, well, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you, and happy America Recycles Day tomorrow.
If you ever have any food waste stuff.
Now we are flaring the methane.
All right, while folks are readjusting, we are going to move the agenda around a little bit because we only have one meeting in November. We have quite a full agenda, but we did invite folks from the Green Team to come today for appointment, and so we're going to go right to that agenda item. Are there folks that came to be appointed to the Green Team today? I don't know if they can hear me. I'm sorry, is there anybody here that did come to be appointed to the Green Team? All right. I know we did have some folks online that were interested, and so I think we should probably go ahead and appoint the ones that,
Well, it's a council appointment, so
Okay.
we'll have to, you can't do it here.
okay, the council has to do it. All right, great. All right. So we'll maintain that list, or update that list, and then I'll make sure it gets to you, Dan, for the town council appointment. All right, great. All right, we had 2 items of correspondence. Suburban Consulting Engineers from the New Jersey DEP land use permits. They're looking for a freshwater wetlands general permit to fix the road crossing. Construction's going to be at the Lake Mohawk Country Club. It's proposing the reconstruction of the existing West Shore Trail Bridge. I think that's the one right by that playground, right? Yeah, okay. All right. I guess that's going to go through the planning board at some point? This was just notification that they're starting the planning?
I'm not sure.
We're just waiting on a permit.
You're waiting
approval.
on the permit at this point?
Not gonna be, it's probably not gonna be until next fall.
You got to use the mic.
I think it's not gonna be until next fall because the state is backed up.
Okay.
So,
All right, so we'll look for that one when it comes through to the planning board. The other piece of correspondence that we got was Keene University at the Skylands campus, which is the one just down the road in Oak Ridge, right on the border of Sparta. They're having a Spring into Sustainability event on April 12th from 12 to 4 o'clock, sorry. And they sent out a save the date for it. I did go last year. It was amazing. It was so fun. We had a really good time.
That wasn't the BioBlast, was it?
Yeah, but I
okay,
think
yeah.
this is the same thing, but
Oh,
they're
cool.
calling it Spring into Sustainability this year.
I went to that
Yeah,
last year, too.
yeah, that was really fun. So definitely highly recommend that event, and you can go ahead and mark your calendars for that. Okay. Moving on to applications, we have 3 applications to review. If the commission wants to join me down there, we can take a look at the different items. Anyone from the public can come and see too, if you'd like. Have a look at the plans. We look at the plans for different, things that are happening. So you're welcome.
Kim, that's the correspondence thing now.
No.
I'm
No.
really curious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're an advisory board to the planning board, the commission is. And so we review not every single plan that comes through, but the plans that come through for any environmental concerns or anything like that. So this is for Pop's Bagels. Well, it's a new place. It doesn't exist yet. Yeah. It's going to be on, you know that, I don't know what you call it, Main Street and then Woodport? And then right there in the corner, there used to be a gas station. Right by the jug handle.
Oh, the post, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Across the street from the post office, exactly. So they are making changes to that site, and they're turning it into a bagel store.
There was a store there called Someplace Special
Really?
30 years ago.
Oh.
Really, really good. Having a takeout. No, it's across from the.
That's just the boundary one. They usually come with a number of maps. Anybody want to look at that one? It's the boundary map?
Wow. That's like the property.
Yeah. Where the roadway is, that kind of stuff. All right. Yeah. Existing floor plan.
So the application is just for the change?
Yeah, they're putting in a little bit of lighting. Sorry. So this is the new rendering. This is not the lighting plan either. Oh, recessed lighting. And here's the floor plan.
When are they proposing to start all this?
They have to get through all this process
Okay.
first, yeah. So we're usually before the planning board, so this was probably scheduled to be in the planning board within a month.
Yeah. Smoothie bar.
Yeah, right?
Yum.
All right, so this
close to Underman where they will have more interactions on a Saturday and Sunday.
I've never seen one of those before.
No?
It's nice because there's not a lot of places to walk to out there anymore. It's all businesses that you don't walk into.
All right, here's probably the meat and potatoes of what we usually look at. Oops. Okay. So, let's find the, where does it have? Impervious coverage.
100%.
Where do you see that? How come I can't see it today? Oh, here it is, okay.
Close.
You were close.
98.4.
There's one grass going through the
Yeah, it
concrete.
is. So they must have had, because it's already covered up, they probably had a variance at some point, which we can't change right now. If they were saying they were gonna cover it up and it was only 40% now, then we would usually make a comment about something like that.
Right, right.
And if they were gonna lessen the current impervious coverage, of course, we'd be happy with that. Okay. Yeah.
What are they demoing?
Existing structure to remain. Oh, within the building, they're removing concrete.
An island?
Oh, there's the building.
Yeah,
Oh, I see, yeah, they're removing that stuff, okay,
and they're gonna mill the asphalt,
yeah.
so.
What does that mean? They're gonna mill the asphalt.
Put those ridges in it?
So they can repave it, I guess?
Probably. Moving
Just like
gas.
they did with our roads.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here's the development plan.
Are they going to have seating?
Well, it looks like they're adding some grass that's not there.
Oh, my gosh. Native plants, come on now.
Let's see what they have.
This has got to be close to 100% impervious coverage.
It is. It said 98.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they're actually making it better when they're adding this grass here.
So maybe, yeah.
Well, they probably have to because there's so much contamination there, and there's active monitoring wells there. You probably don't want a lot of water mixing everything up.
Oh. Yeah, it said it was because of a variance.
There's at least one monitoring well there.
No, there's plenty over
Yeah,
here,
there's a couple of them, yeah.
over here.
Oh, yeah, look at them.
What are they for? Was that because, wasn't it a gas station at one
gas
point?
station.
Yeah,
Transmission repair shop after that.
Okay, yeah, so that explains that.
grading and
There are
utility
monitoring wells
plan.
as far away as the theater from the radiation, not radioactive, but from the plume from this place.
Wow.
From that place?
Yeah.
No, this, hold on.
What?
No, that's by the gas station. That's
I know.
not the- I mean, by the post office.
Yep, I know. But there was a well, I know that was monitoring this, that was about by the theater. Yeah, as far away as that, yeah.
But it wouldn't that be for the gas station that used to be across from the theater?
I know that they were,
Oh,
I
here's the
think it was
lighting
related to
plan.
this because I was involved in this.
Ah,
I was surprised by it.
yeah.
This is the parking, huh?
Well, I might be measuring both for all I know, too.
Where are they putting the lights? Oh, there's one. Wall mounted, and a pole.
I just gotta say that, that's a very busy intersection, and look at what's going on here. Parking, the parking, the parking, the parking. The curb cut is probably right here, right? And over here,
Only one
No, there's only one here.
one here,
and
then-
one there.
And one there. Okay.
Just that exit and that's an entrance and exit?
No, it's entrance and exit.
They're both, I think.
Yeah. Stop sign.
Yeah, and this often gets backed up here. People trying to make that turn. You're not gonna be able to come out for a long time. Oh, here's the lighting.
Does this go into the next parking lot? I
It's
can't
like-
remember.
it's
Like
like-
Burke's is there, right?
Burke's, right, I think it
It's-
does.
It's not really nice, though.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, it's messy. I wouldn't do it too much, but hopefully it'll make it better. Circulation plan, okay, here's how they're showing the cars coming in.
So where did they come in? What is
Look, there's an
this?
accident right there.
It looks like they've got a fender bender.
They come in here, yeah, they back up here. No one can move.
All right, well, we'll let you worry about the parking on the
Thanks,
planning board
thanks.
there.
Yeah. How many tables are inside?
Not too many, 3.
Okay.
I
The
think
planning board is responsible for worrying about parking.
I would give them any
Now, are you
day
on the
just to make
planning
sure
board
that
also?
Is on the planning board.
Okay, wow.
changes.
All right, where is the plantings?
Oh, they're gonna have a little sign there.
Oh, so they're shared.
I still don't see any place where they
No,
said
it's
what
not.
they're gonna plant.
Pop's Bagels and Butter Shop.
All right, and soils, soil maintenance. Urban redevelopment land code, therefore the proposed project does not require compaction or okay.
Alright, so there's no boring rate.
There's no what?
Like soil borings or, they're
No.
just, this is just their, okay.
Yeah. All right, and, oh, here's the planting evidently.
It's a lot of,
Not much planting is happening, but.
Well, that's the detail, but what's the plan? Those are just the,
Oh, look at a tree.
but that's just your typical detail where, look at the
Yeah,
plan.
they didn't have a landscape plan because I don't think
This
their
is just,
landscape
this,
is
look
enough.
for the fine print that says these notes are general and may not apply to this project.
Yeah, I didn't see a landscape plan
Like, where
because I
do you-
think they're only doing
you always got everything.
this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they don't have a whole landscape plan.
they're only adding like a little
Yeah.
here and around.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's all right.
you can't really put anything
No.
tall next to the curbs.
No, I
because
don't
it
think
would
there's
block the
trees.
vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they could do something on the sides maybe and right in front.
I assume you're only gonna have to be going right when you get out of there. There's no way to let you go left turn.
I don't know.
We'll see.
All right, so I'm gonna assume all their
Can't be any
planting
worse
is
co-
grass.
it certainly will not be any worse than getting in and out of ShopRite.
That's
But that's close to the intersection.
All right, so what comments do we have?
Thanks, folks. Thanks for sharing the road.
We have 2 more to go through. Don't you want to stick around?
If you don't want to.
Getting a little late
Fun,
for.
fun is fun. Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, come again.
Yeah, well, I'll.
Get on the, reach out to, take a bunch of those.
All right, we'll take a look at that one. Who was next on the list?
Well, it wasn't.
Was Firehouse the next one?
Executive
Yeah. You know, get Which one is this? We looked at something.
Changes in size.
All right. This is very, are these existing apartments, I guess?
Yeah, I think, didn't we go through this, or there's like some updates to that? I think they were just doing some improvements inside the structure. Is it this one, like across from the? Yeah, by the club, by the country club. Those apartments like right there by the playground.
Oh, right in front of the tennis courts?
Yes.
Oh, and they're just making some updates?
I believe so, yeah.
Is this for the new tenant that's coming in? I was listening to
I think they were just making changes.
So they're not changing
Inside
anything
the building.
outside, then I don't think we have any comments.
No.
Oh, they're making a new apartment. That's it, that's all the changes are.
Is there already that existing floor, they're just like redesigning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're changing the floor plan, so I don't think we have any comments on that. Planning board is different.
It's an interesting, I wonder what the trigger to go. It's just interesting why
Or why it even came to us. I don't know why they're setting us up. You're my man. I'll have to ask Dory about that. Why are they, what are they doing? Like sending everything to us?
Is it, yeah, how is it worded? Is it we get everything, or is it when they want us? Just have it.
But the planning board hasn't seen it yet. We always do it before. So,
And that's for the bridge, right?
yeah, they don't make any evaluations personally.
No.
All right, what are they doing here? January 15th is when it's going before there, to the planning board. But what are they doing?
So it was actually like they're doing here.
Setting some of the
Oh, I know what Park Lake is.
By the White Lake, by the White Lakes.
Yeah.
So the state is doing that environmental
That's a lot.
path that I've been thinking about for years. And so hopefully we're gonna piggyback on that signage down there, and so if the service center does do that,
It's just boundary.
somehow.
I thought we saw this one already, with the basin.
No, there was like, that one was like either here or here. There were like few of them buildings.
There's like a
Yes.
couple empty parcels over there. It's
Okay.
just like everyone's submitted their applications.
All right, so I wonder if we want to make our same comment about the basins,
Yeah.
not putting just cement in the bottom.
Oh, it's the same thing again?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, the one was here, the other one was like right here, that lot.
They understand
Sand bottom.
they're too busy and they don't have the time to make the trip over to Lafayette. You know,
They're not required to make it like plant life around it too, are they?
would that be?
Well, that's the thing, we've been finding that a lot of times they have in Sparta just rocks on the bottom or just sand, and so we've been kind of, every time it comes up, we like advocate again, put plants in it for additional treatment.
Native
They
plants
asked
in
and
it.
said, oh, I
Yeah.
think this could be recycled. You probably don't
Just be a
know.
simple matter of, hey, decided to, you know, drive around and look for recyclables and, you know,
All right, so we got the basin comment. Oh, I didn't see
The lighting, remember for the other one, we also had the light comment.
the light comment on the other one. But what was the impervious coverage? I think I skipped that.
Yeah. All right, so we'll be in touch. Yeah.
your actually, because you sent the original post about this presentation, I think your email is there.
So they're looking for impervious
Good.
Okay.
coverage. All right.
Have a good night.
Variance required and previously granted.
Yes.
Okay, thank
Already
you.
been granted.
Chris,
See,
bye.
take care.
sediment control plan.
Oh, yeah, so then that's got some distraction.
Lighting notes, okay. Oh, and here's the plants, too. Red sunset maple. That's not native. Silver maple? Colorado blue, Chinese juniper, no. Elf mountain.
That's a giveaway, right?
Japanese slivergrass, no. Goldfinger.
From New Jersey.
I don't know what that one is.
Potentilia five-finger, usually it is. It's in the rose family. It's like a shrub.
Is it
It's a
native?
yellow flower. Well, it's native to Colorado, I know.
There you go.
Happy face hearts? It's the same.
I'm not sure.
I don't know these. All right, so we can make. Where's lighting?
Mount Laurel, oh, that's nice.
I know, that is a nice one.
Calmia, mine's not doing too well. I've got elf.
Single, parking lot, backlight control.
Why Chinese juniper?
I know,
Junipers are so,
we have nice junipers.
you know, everywhere.
Drainage area. Yeah, we saw that. Okay. Drainage again.
Did it have the type of applicant?
No, we can go back and look at that. I didn't notice. Where's the lights?
So I don't see why, like, that just seems like small common sense things like
Oh, here it is.
So we
Building
could
mounted
kind of scare them
details.
and realize
Facing down. Okay. All right.
stuff that we're worried about, like, just, how about just protecting ourselves and our future?
Oh,
Just
the
like,
sewage.
hey, if you do this, you'll,
What are they making here?
or something, you'll get some kind of more favorable.
It's the septic.
Yeah, industrial slash warehouse. That's what they proposing.
Your stormwater utility charge would be based on your impervious coverage.
Yeah.
Less impervious coverage, the lower
Okay.
impervious coverage, and the more impervious.
Anybody, anything else anybody wants to see with this one? I don't know that they have a actual, what's gonna be in here yet. I think they're just building it.
Oh, yeah, they just described it here.
Review this before, like, Dave Simmons and the planning board.
They just,
Yes, we always do.
industrial building
Because our
warehouse
memo
shop.
goes to them. Yeah.
I don't understand.
Proposed industrial warehouse. That's all they said.
But they didn't say what, if it's an
Well, it might be
industrial
there.
warehouse, that means they're gonna be putting something together, right?
No,
Yeah, so we'll
no,
have to
not
look
there.
at that.
These folders.
Turn that into a.
So kudos to them.
Maybe I should talk about that.
Oh, they're doing 2 floors, an upper showroom and a ground floor showroom entry,
I think
and a warehouse.
I don't know that they can have showrooms.
Well, that's a planning board problem.
Thank you.
I love that you wear 2 hats, but. Nicklock.
Nickel paving stones.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nicklock paving
Storage
stone.
for paving
Oh,
stones.
don't
Oh,
they have
that's
that along that
They're on,
houses corner?
Houses Corner, that's
Yeah.
their
Okay.
factory.
Okay, well, they're gonna have more.
positive facts.
But this is a showroom and storage?
Yeah, yeah. Showroom and warehouse. Okay. So what are we commenting on this one? Somebody remind me again. Basin,
And lights and plants, right?
lights and plants, and basin. Okay. I got it.
Oh, this
This is the bridge.
bridge?
So, I mean, I can say that it goes over the Wallkill, historic bridge.
I hate these things.
We have to modify it for safety, it's on a private roadway, but we have to bring it up to compliance.
Yeah.
So,
It's good that they're expanding the
Membership's paying.
sidewalk.
hmm?
It's good that they're expanding the sidewalk.
But we have to, bring it up to current DOT.
DOT, right, yeah.
It's gonna be
I'm
costly
sure.
for membership.
That bridge weight's been ignored.
Like everything else.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, what's the limit?
15 tons and 20 foot.
Where's that?
This is right on the boardwalk.
Oh,
This
okay.
is the
Private club, yeah.
playground.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's just tight there. I see a lot of people walking around there.
Yeah, right by the playground.
They need a walking path there.
Bobcats. We
I think
have
that's what they
Bobcat and
said they're
Bald
gonna do
Eagle.
the sidewalk.
Did you look at all the pictures? There we go. See, it kind of ends there and it's dangerous to walk along here, but you could also walk that way too, but I don't know whether you're supposed to.
Well, there is a little sidewalk there. That's still a sidewalk.
Is that a sidewalk?
Yeah.
It looks like it's a slope from where I'm,
Yeah, it's hard to tell in this picture, but it is.
oh, good.
But it's nothing like a ADA compliant sidewalk.
No.
Any wheelchairs go.
No.
Yeah, it's not a tricycle compliant either, maybe.
Yeah, but that's fair. It's wide on that side.
Yeah,
It's just they dealt with what they could do with that little historic bridge, so.
Any other comments or concerns?
Yeah, that's.
I haven't responded to her yet.
All right, thank you, everyone, for reviewing those plans. I'll write up those memos and share them. And while we're waiting, we'll open it up to public comment. It looks like our public left.
I feel abandoned.
I do. too. All right, so we will,
Green team left us, the public left us.
we'll move on to reports. Who wants to go first? Now we have a new report of the Trails Committee, too. So Landon, do you want to go
start
first?
then? Sure. So for the Trails Committee, a week ago was when we first met in the council chambers, and it was a good attendance. We were first, introducing ourselves, looking at the order or the resolution that passed to create the subcommittee. So making sure we understand what the scope of the actual committee is. And then it kind of divulged into discussing what are the top priorities, right? That always comes up of what should we really focus on. And in that particular resolution, highlighting was the original rail trails. So that's a pretty foundational project that we're starting to look at now for our next meeting. Having some of our members do a little bit more research on the background, gather some data, and come together to kind of get a feasible timeline of how that can get done within Sparta. but we don't want to put all of our eggs in one particular basket, especially with this great open space draft that we have now. So many great recommendations for trails. So some of the other interesting locations that were highlighted. So first, the abandoned Lehigh New England Railroad. The other one was the Ogden Mine Railroad path. And then finally was the middle school to high school path and the General Walk-Hill Valley location. So those are the three locations that we're going to be really prioritizing for right now, looking more into. But for the scope, it's creating an inventory of general existing recreational trails like size, location, terrain, some access points, building some sort of map for our residents to look at, getting an inventory of our potential new trail projects, which easy enough is done by the previous work of the Open Space Subcommittee, so thank you for doing that. And then start to decompose this into manageable sections and develop a plan. So we're hoping to come into the new year with some general plans and maybe more particular plans that can then be done in collaboration with the Recreation Committee, Department, and all the other stakeholders that are involved in the municipality, county, and so on. So definitely come out to our next one. I don't have an official date for it yet, but we're really excited for it to get going, and I'm looking forward to provide an update next time. But that's all I have for that. If there's any questions about it.
Yeah, I had a couple of things, so thanks for starting that off. I believe the committee should establish a standard, predictable cadence for the meetings so that we can put it on the website and the public can know that they meet on the first Wednesday of every month, or pick a date, or if it's quarterly or every other month, but that meeting, especially as we get into the next calendar year, that we should establish a predictable meeting cadence for the public. And secondly, I would put high on the as part of your North Star for the committee that to connect to create a wider regional network of trails to connect like the trails that go into the Lehigh Valley area on one side and into the Walk-Hill and Morris County on the other side. And as we talked about before, there's this gap in Sparta. So connecting to a larger regional network is what was very high in the DPW, the DEP list, New Jersey DEP list, and I would hope that that features prominently in your plans.
And I'm sure a lot of the people, I'm younger in my experience with this, but it seems like Sussex County and Sparta are really close to doing a lot of great things, like Dan was just hinting at, and really building an interconnected system and having it be really well done and accessible for a lot of different people. But we reached kind of a roadblock, I guess, a couple years ago or a decade or so ago. And we're just going through that learning experience now on the board, where we're actually getting the history of how did this kind of halt. Really looking at some of the old data that we have from the planning, Sussex County Planning and Engineering Department, and some of the other data sources that we have. We actually have some great different committee members that have different expertise and experience. So I'm really excited to see that we can, fulfill what was, passed down. None of this that we're really proposing is brand new. This has been in the woodworks for a long time, and we're hopeful that we can really shine some light. My only comment with that, though, is this is a subcommittee of the Recreation Committee, so I'm fine with advertising it. I'm sure we're going to establish a meeting schedule for the rest of 2025, and then that can get sent to the secretaries and so on.
And lastly, you could work with the township manager to, if you need to find how I can set a route, how I connect two points with a trail. Our tax department can provide you with a list of lots that we own or lots that are privately owned to see how you can feasibly make any connections that you need.
Wonderful. We're looking forward to rely on our professionals here. They're great, and they're a wealth of knowledge.
Yep, thanks.
And one other stakeholder that I would say that you should reach out to would be Tammy Horsfield at the Chamber of Commerce, if you haven't already, because there has been emphasis at the county level on the trails, and I know it was mentioned at the most recent Chamber of Commerce meeting, so that might be a good connection.
For sure. We're really hopeful that we can work well with Tammy as a major county stakeholder, and then some of the other nonprofit agencies and DEP-related agencies. So very helpful. And we'll probably have down the line inviting multiple members like that to a meeting to discuss more. So
Awesome.
we're looking forward to report more. If there's anything new as well, I'll send an email to everyone, anything of pressing news.
Right, thank you. All right, should we go ahead to you, Christine?
You know, it's kind of funny that I would be giving a report since we were all there.
It's true, but
So,
you're still our designated
Tell us what we
reporter on
witnessed.
it.
You may have stayed the longest though, so.
okay, yeah, yeah. Kim stayed. Before I mention what I saw happen the other night, would anybody like a map of the trail, Sussex County Trail map?
I have that actually.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll take
so,
one.
If there's an extra one, I'm never gonna deny another copy of that.
yeah, and we could
Oh, you
leave
have some
any
right now,
extras out front, maybe? See if that's enough. So we used this during the meeting for the Trails meeting.
I have this already, actually.
Yeah, when you walk into the chamber office, they have it, have a stand where you can pick these up. But, and it's, I think it's a little outdated, but it's got some great information about the trails to read about background. So, so I wanted to mention that we had a fabulous meeting for our open space and recreation plan. And I did not hear, I did not hear any concerns, really, serious concerns from planning board members or from the town council members in attendance. So I think this bodes very well. And it was so well laid out, recommendations for many different projects and going forward, and the emphasis on the Rossi to be put together so that we will qualify for Green Acres. All that was explained so carefully and well by Barbara Davis from the New Jersey Land Conservancy. So there is that, and then let's see what else we have. We had a discussion about cannabis a little bit, and a couple of people voiced their opinions about having a retail type of a store or a sort of a growing area for cannabis. So that was an opportunity for the public to weigh in. So that was kind of nice. And the thing with the cannabis location, store location, we would have to go into our zoning to change the zoning for whatever area we thought would be appropriate for two, I believe, one or two different locations for that, if this is something that Sparta, wants to have happen for their community. Okay, so that's the cannabis. And then something kind of neat happened with the PDRM2, Planned Development and Resource Management Area, which is out Houses Road a little ways. And what they did was they actually changed a little bit of the land management code, which I believe limited the square footage for development in that area. That area is somewhat protected, I believe, because I think I heard that there's only 3% impervious surface allowed in that whole section. And that section is up against the, there's a lake association out there.
Lake Grinnell.
Grinnell, Lake Grinnell. So that is, I think, a little improvement to our code in terms of environmental protection from the planning board. So that was kind of neat. What else? And then there was the other thing that I didn't vote on because I wasn't present when there was a presentation, but I know that our environmental commission commented on, and that was the approval of the Brandstone application. Okay?
Questions for Christine? Right. Dan, if it's okay, we'll just keep moving down the table, or you want to go?
Sure. A couple of things I'll mention, since Christine mentioned it, we did have a discussion about cannabis, but I want to make it clear that the discussion wasn't about the policy. The policy discussion happens at the council level. The cannabis discussion for the planning board at the time was about the zoning only, because the planning board's day job is, what gets built where, so any comments or opining on it was just about the zoning in and of itself. But otherwise, I thought we had a good discussion, including the open space plan that we presented. This week's council meeting was canceled, so there was no meeting on Tuesday. Our next meeting will be November 26th, I want to say. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Yeah, thank you. Next week is the annual League of Municipalities Convention in Atlantic City. I don't know if anybody here is planning on going, but it's always it's for elected officials as well as administrators and other township professionals and people that work with on different committees. I've seen it going there as well. It's 3 days full of seminars. Seminars start around 10-ish and go until 5:30-ish, and then all the parties happen usually in the evenings. And I'm usually curled up in bed with a book before anybody, so I can get a good night's sleep. And the last thing I'll mention is November is No Shave November, so I'm grinning and bearing it for a month, and hope our police department does this as a fundraiser, and I hope you would look into going to our police department Facebook page, and there's a link to the Facebook where you can donate if you are so inclined. And those are, maybe I'll also mention, because I was talking to Rob a little bit, I'm sorry. And that I might consider at the council level to resurrect the thought of bringing, at least having a discussion about introducing a stormwater utility. The council passed a resolution, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, that would keep Sparta away from this, but that's was more of a statement at the time, and resolutions aren't as sticky as an ordinance. But there are some very good things that can come out of a stormwater utility, and I think that's something that would deserve at least some consideration, or at least some debate at the council level as to whether or not that might happen, that might be a good idea for Sparta. With a stormwater utility, you would take the funding of your maintenance of your stormwater systems out of the general taxes and fund it through a utility, and the utility charge would be based on each property owner's contribution to the stormwater, which is based on your impervious coverage levels. And homeowners and businesses could buy back credits by implementing stormwater capture systems. So it would be a good way to have the people that use the system use the system more that would pay more. So it has a lot of benefits to it. And I think it might be a good time to have that discussion again. And that's all I have.
But that, and then just going off of that, that's something that we could have that conversation about: detention, retention basins, rain gardens, planting native stormwater, buffers, stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you could, I think where you were going was, or maybe I'll go there for you, is that there would be an economic incentive for a new applicant to come in here to try to reduce the impervious coverage as much as possible, and reduce the stormwater contribution as much as possible. There would be economic incentive because they would pay less in their utility.
Yeah.
And that would count for homeowners as well. The more impervious coverage you can have in your home, the more water capture systems you can have in your home, you would also buy down your coverage.
Makes real good sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
that's all.
Okay. Master Plan Subcommittee?
Okay, the Master Plan Subcommittee public survey was set to be shut down on tomorrow, on November 15th, and we were debating whether to extend
extend it for another week or more, so that we could reach 1,000 responses. Today, we reached 1,002, so
Oh, yeah.
that was
down.
good news to hear, and we
Yeah.
can close it. We didn't meet, other than the public meeting, when was it, last week? I lost all track of time. So there'll be 2 meetings in December,
Okay, great.
be going over the results.
Any news on the grant yet?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. Moving on to unfinished business, as Christine mentioned, the open space plan and recreation, space and recreation plan was presented to the planning board, as well as some of our town council members last week in a public meeting. We had great attendance there, so that was really wonderful to see. Barbara provided a final version to us today, which I did send out to you all. And then it also went to the planning board and the planning board's attorney. So hopefully on December 3rd, they can move forward with the hearing as well as adoption of the plan. So next planning board meeting, I would definitely, and it's not going to be a special meeting for us to be attending, but definitely one to watch or pay attention to. Anything else on the open space plan at this point? Okay. We've already talked about the green team appointment. We will go ahead and move forward with that. I'll provide the list of folks who have replied via the emails and the reminders, and I'll provide that to you, Dan, or give it to,
Sure.
okay.
How many do we have?
Oh, I don't have a numbered list. It's more than 10 and less than 50.
That's fine. More than 10
I'd
is
have to
good.
count it.
Yeah, more than 10 is really good.
All right. Final thing we had on our unfinished business was the Sustainable New Jersey certification.
It's been a crazy couple weeks, and wasn't able to find time to try to get us together, but we'll try to do that next week or
Okay.
in the
Gonna try for next week?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any new business?
Can I just say one more thing for the unfinished business? For
Yep.
our quarterly speaker series, we had Dawn come today, and then for our first quarter of 2025, I was thinking potentially we could have Jenna Black, who's the AmeriCorps Watershed Ambassador. She just attended training with the EPA about lead, so she would potentially be interested, if the commission's okay with it, to come and present to us about the threat of lead in water.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sounds good.
And then the one other thing I wanted to mention, this was something I said several meetings ago. This is an update from Kara Johnson's Green Club at Sparta Middle School. So they have been continuing with the soft plastic material collection, and they're hoping to reach 1,000 pounds to earn a free Trex bench for the school. So how the township can help, anyone can bring their soft plastic material to either Ocean State Job Lot, Kohl's, or Stop and Shop. There are drop-off locations for your soft plastic material. And then all you need to do is take a picture of what's being dropped off, and you're gonna weigh your pile, and then send the information, the number of pounds and the picture, to Kara Johnson via email. Her email's on the Sparta Schools website, but it's kara.johnson@sparta.org. CARA.JOHSON@sparta.org.
Could you email that to us?
Sure.
Thank you.
Can you describe soft plastic?
Yes, so that would be anything, think back to what Dawn was holding up, the water, like bottle, plastic, the wrapping that's around paper towels or toilet paper, any kind of pliable plastic film that's around basically everything once you start looking for it.
Candy wrappers, chips, yeah.
It just can't have the metal lining on the
You know, the
inside.
chips bags, it's not,
Shiny
it's not
surface.
that,
Corn chips, I think, are.
Any kind of, like if it has the metal lining on the inside, then that wouldn't be good. But any kind of pliable, plastic, even pouches, like shredded cheese pouches, that would be okay. So it's really a lot of materials once you start looking for it.
So you can use food packaging like,
As long as it's clean, yep.
Yeah,
You don't
so
want to
you-
have the food in it. And if it has the metal lining on the inside, that wouldn't be good. That would just be regular trash.
right, but you do have to make it pretty clean, is that the? what
Yeah,
I'm-
it would be
what
clean.
My understanding
Yeah.
is. So if there's food in it, like say, I don't know, whatever,
So like the-
something greasy or,
Right, you don't
Well,
want
Lay's
greasy.
You don't
chips
want
is a
that,
no,
yeah.
but like the corn chips, I think you can.
oh, okay.
Can you,
But
if it's shiny on the outside, like Frito-Lay has shiny, but like the Sun Chips don't have shiny.
Right, not like that. Like more like around paper towels. You know what I'm talking about? Like the thin plastic clear
I would stay
film.
away
I
from
know, I know.
like the chips and stuff, those that cellophane or whatever, like you don't
Yeah,
want
if it has that,
Yeah.
You
right.
want, like, as you said, you buy a bag of paper towels, that bag.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
I saw a description where if you can push your finger through it, I don't know, is that true?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
supposed to be pretty thin. It could be what they put newspapers in, if anyone gets newspapers delivered, or
Gotcha.
like any kind of,
Produce.
I could send it out. There is a whole listing of what's acceptable. Maybe we can put that on our website.
Yeah, that would be
That's
great.
great. So I did drop some off, and
Mm-hmm.
I took a picture, but there was no place to weigh it. That's what was confusing to me.
Yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to do that. Maybe just
Okay.
in your own house. It's not in the store, I don't think. I think it's just like,
Because
maybe-
I asked the lady, I'm like, I'm supposed to weigh this, how do I weigh it?
yeah.
And she
No, I
was
think
like,
you
don't
weigh it
know
at
what you're
home
talking
and then you just
Put it
Got
on
it.
your scale.
put it on
Okay.
a scale with maybe yourselves holding it, right? To
That
get the
takes a
difference
lot
in
of
weight.
bags
Wait,
just to
yeah,
even
do a
register the scale.
calculation.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a lot. Yeah, I
I
had a
don't-
huge bag.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was really easy when we did this, when I worked at Pope John, because we had the spring scales. So I'd have the kids come in, after school, and they'd just hook up a bag and, get
Oh,
the
okay.
weight of it. And then we would take it over there to Stop and Shop.
Okay, so weigh it at home, and then take the picture, got it.
Like
Okay.
spring scales aren't using power, so that's good. I mean,
Yeah,
It's
but
a
do
little
you
bit-
have one in your house? I don't have one in my house.
I might have to get one now. I mean, then we're not using resources to recycle resources.
That's true.
Yeah, and then it's all, if
Look
it
at
breaks,
you,
it's all
Yeah.
metal, you can recycle that.
Official
right.
Yeah.
How is the school advertising for that?
She is running the program through her green team, and I don't know if it might be on their website as well, but she was hoping that we could help promote it.
Absolutely.
If there's a
Absolutely.
flyer, I was just thinking. if you-
Okay. Yeah, I can ask. I'm not sure if there is one, but I know that there is one from the SCMUA has a flyer, and it's the same kind of plastic that Dawn was talking about, that you could either bring to the Lafayette facility or any of those locations I mentioned. Ocean State Job Lot, Kohl's, or Stop and Shop.
So Michelle, does the town have a spring weigher?
No.
All right.
I think you could probably just if you have a scale in your house, you could weigh yourself, right?
Yeah,
And
then
then
get
weigh
on with
yourself
the
again,
bag.
holding it and
Yep.
do the subtraction.
That's what we do with
You said
luggage.
fishing, if you had a fish scale, would be probably perfect for that. They're cheap.
Maybe the post office has an old analog scale I can donate.
Yeah. All right, anything else for the good of the environment and Sparta residents?
The last thing I just wanted to mention is that we should look at the potential dates for the Earth Day Fair, because if we're going to do that again in 2025, like we did last year, we're going to run into issues with the school schedule and the Easter break. And I know Easter's on April 20th,
Well,
which is Earth Week. So then we have both the 19th and the 26th would be part of spring break technically. And then if we went earlier, we'd be the 12th, which is the Kane University event. So we can just maybe consider that and talk about that at a future meeting.
yeah, let's connect, Christine.
Yeah.
And see if we can come back with a plan to everybody else.
You know, I was thinking the other day, the Environmental Commission used to have a pickup day twice a year, I mean, remember that? We'd go and walk the roads. When was the last time we did that?
It was a year ago, October, in the rain.
Was it that? That long ago?
Oh
Yes,
my
it
gosh.
I thought
was.
that was in the spring.
Who's the crazy
Wow.
chairperson that said, I don't care that it's raining? We just can't do it."
That was
Joe
a-
Walsh?
That was a fun
Oh,
day.
it was me.
Oh,
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah, we're definitely overdue.
okay.
Yeah, we need to do it.
I usually try to coordinate a fall cleanup every year. The fall watershed cleanup this year, though, is focused on one particular site, and it's not in Sparta. It's actually in Blairstown, where they removed the Paulina Dam. And when they did that, the water level of the lake went down, leaving behind all sorts of little mysterious treasures of the deep. So what we're going to do is we're going to meet at East Chrisman Road on the 23rd at 10 o'clock. And we're going to be met there by Michelle de Blasio of the Nature Conservancy, who was one of the river specialists that designed the project, coordinated the funding and everything. And we're going to have kind of a cleanup walk and talk about the history of the dam, the process of the removal, and all of the benefits that will be realized coming down the line and now that are starting to be realized. So that's kind of the focus this year, just to kind of celebrate that there's not a whole lot to pick up there. But it'll be fun, learning about, the dam and why it's so important that we start removing these structures. So I have this little flyer.
You said it was November 23rd?
November 23rd from
Okay.
10 to 1, if you want to take a look
Sure.
at this. And you
How many of your
can,
fishing lures are going to be along the shoreline with you?
All right, any other announcements or?
I wanted to mention something that I should have brought up before in conjunction with the recycling presentation. It's surprising that we have a refill store in town that a lot of people don't know about. And I just wanted to mention that, that's part of reduction and rejection. This year, they have refilled 27,566 containers towards their goal of 30,000. And that's keeping all those containers out of landfills. So
Is this door in back of the Main Street?
they're
moved-
next to, they're upstairs next to the astrology place. Where,
Right.
near, they're not downstairs anymore.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been there for a while.
I love them, I go all the time.
Oh, me too. I did a yoga class there last night.
I saw that, I didn't get to go. Yeah. All right,
That's all I
anything
got.
else? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
so move.
Chris, all in favor?
We need a second.
Oh, second, sorry.
Second.
Neil, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, sorry.